Shah is joining us from Ahmedabad, of course, founder of Sameeksha Capital, but he's a veteran in the market and a pure analyst at heart. Bhavin, so nice to see you after a long time on the show. Bhavin, I want to understand, how are you approaching the market right now? Sitting away from the noise, you've built your firm more like a patient capital. You're not chasing news headlines and all of that. Just training your guns on pure analysis and numbers and valuations. Were you getting a bit uncomfortable on valuations, say, till 10 days back?
Yeah, I think we are still uncomfortable even today. I think especially in whichever space there is, prospects for very strong growth over coming years, presuming that what has kind of started in last 1 or 2 years continues through, a post 2024 election. So market has sort of started to discount multiple years of very strong growth, and beyond that in some of the sectors where there is a lot happening, and that I think obviously that can continue. There is valuation itself doesn't stop the market from going up. I think we have seen that in the past, but it just makes us a little cautious because any kind of hiccup, bad news, can have a result in a sharp correction. And it's like, and what happens is everybody tries to then escape through a very narrow alley, and then people can't, and then that's when disasters happen.
What is that part of the market which you are having on your radar? The story is more structural, but perhaps in the near term the valuation may have gotten ahead of themselves. For any reasonable pullback, you would look at deploying additional and you will actually raise your exposure.
Well, I think clearly India is going through a once in a generation infrastructure bill, and I think at this along with that a huge focus on India as a manufacturing destination for a wide range of sectors. So it means the companies, the industrial sector, the equipment suppliers, companies that basically help create new manufacturing capacity. All these spaces we are seeing a lot of exuberance, and I think it is not unwarranted, given that the potential is really enormous for India. But that's where the excesses are also being found in valuations. But I think it is not just limited to that. I think even it is sort of sprayed into many other areas. Even, let's say, for example, building materials. I think obviously they get used in a whole range of things, and not just residential but also commercial. And there also we are seeing never before seen kind of multiples, which basically require companies to deliver superlative growth, mid double digit or a higher growth for next 25 years, 30 years without any hiccup. Now that doesn't, that's not a very comforting situation.
Bhavin, I see you selectively looking for opportunities in financials. Which part of financials do you like? And specifically, I'd like to know your opinion on NBFCs. This morning we saw Berman's actually want to up their stake in Religare, which is essentially a financial services play. We saw Reliance Jio Financial upping their game. Bajaj Finance wants to raise $1 billion plus. So that NBFC space, Chola just did a very big, QIP. So NBFC space is hotting up. Do you like that? And where do you see other opportunities in financials?
I mean, I think the opportunities are across the board. They are in large cap. I think if you look at some of the large private banks, they have not really done much for some time. And I don't know which one is going to give the best return. I think that's something we are still grappling with. But yes, there is massive underperformance in that space. And I think these banks have also been delivering very good growth NBFCs for sure. I think those are the companies that grow the fastest when there is consistent economic growth, and I think especially the NBFCs that the cater to the third and fourth, second, third, fourth tier cities, and also to the areas which have been underbanked, or where people relied on the unorganized sectors for financing. Those are definitely have huge potential. It's a matter of them basically building their network and taking advantage of that growth potential. So they are definitely seeing opportunities in NBFCs, and I think financial includes also other spaces. I think even the insurance sector is reasonably valued. Even some wealth management firms, I think I would see them doing quite well for a very long period. So I think it is. I think it's across the board, I would say, within financials.
The IT space, I mean, that's something you understand so well. And there's kind of a very differentiated growth. The mid-cap IT is showing no signs of clear slowdown. In fact, their commentary has been very different too. But large-cap IT did go through a kind of a weakish spell. Is that over now? And how would you pick your name from the IT space?
So I think that weakness in growth probably not over yet, but my guess is that we may start to see some recovery in growth, maybe another 6 to 9 months. And I think market at some point will start to take recognition on that. So I think where we see, I think again, we have to be selective even also in IT space. We don't want to chase companies which are obviously delivering superior growth, but also market is giving them very unrealistic multiples. Because I think IT sector is fairly in the end reasonably homogeneous. I think companies which are not today in one particular space, you can find them in that space through acquisition, by acquiring those capabilities. So while it's okay to assign higher valuation because someone is exposed to a high growth space, I think one has to be put some limit to that. So selectively we are seeing opportunities because of that in the mid cap, as well as I think a little bit in large cap as well.
One last opinion I want from you, Bhavin, is the narrative 6 months back was that inflation is under control, rates would kind of peak out with a lag, a brief pause, and rates would start going lower, led by US and then perhaps in Asia too, Indonesia and then us. That narrative got completely challenged now, and we are talking about higher for longer. Is that a reality in your view, and has that been discounted by the markets or not yet? If there were to come one or two hike additionally in the US and perhaps in India too, how would market react?
I don't think market has discounted that possibility. And I think that is definitely a genuine issue. I think we have to keep it in mind. Crude, the story on crude was pretty benign till very recently, and now we don't know where it's going to go. And obviously, when that happens, it brings a new inflation concern. Even for India, I think the inflation prints haven't been that comforting, in fact, for the last couple of months. So I think obviously with the election coming next year, and reasonably government friendly central bank, they may wait to do anything, but I do think that the risk is there that they actually end up having to they get raise rates on a war footing if the inflation issue comes back to haunt us again. So yeah, that is as I said, market doesn't fall, or valuations don't correct on their own, but something like this can basically spoil the party, and that's why we have to be cautious on that front.
While the market has turned a bit cautious on mid cap and small cap, at least last 3-4 days of the last week, do you think there is scope for further froth removal. But at the same time, India being, a very wide sector, so many sectors are there, great companies, high quality growth. Mid caps actually offer the best kind of opportunities to participate in this broad growth. How are you trying to marry both sides, not being too, kind of getting carried away, but still looking for ideas?
Yeah, so we have a framework we follow. We don't mind investing in companies which are expensive, by traditional measures, provided we see enough growth for them over whatever horizon that makes sense for given business, and is sensible to assume. So in this kind of environment, our task becomes harder. We find I definitely see that we are finding fewer opportunities today than we were finding 6 to 9 months back. But it is not. I think it would be wrong for me to say that there are no opportunities. I think there are opportunities there. Just one has to do. One has to work harder, and that's what we have to do. I think there are, as you said, India is there is growth in the economy. There is huge growth potential. There are many different sectors, and there are different transitions taking place in many sectors. So we have to just keep looking, and find potential ideas. And you're absolutely right. And those ideas are generally going to be found in the mid and small cases.
All right, Bhavin, we'll let you go on that one. Thanks so much for joining us on the show today. That was Bhavin Shah.